Hi there, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Gazette's Hockey Inside Out Show. I'm Stu Cowan of the Gazette, joined by my regular partners here, former Canadiens teammates and 1986 Stanley Cup champions, Rick Green and Chris Nilan. Guys, it looks like the Canadiens are going to get into the playoffs. Who do you think, Knuckles, they match up with best in the first round? Maybe it's Tampa, maybe it's Buffalo, maybe it's Carolina. Of those three teams, which one would you think they have the best chance against?
I hate this because you have to beat no matter who's in front of you. Now, I get it, the best matchups, blah, blah. Maybe this team we prefer to play because, you know what, they're a little better than that team. And listen, Buffalo's been on fire, right? It's crazy what's happened there. They're a team playing with a boatload of confidence. Who knows what happens when the playoffs come? Everything changes. So, you know, I'm of the ilk that whoever is in front of you, you have to beat them. Sorry, you're not getting that out of me.
Rick, do you have a team you think they'd match up best against?
Not really, other than, you know, Nux touched on playoffs is a whole new game. And I think that the way they're playing right now, the Canadiens, I really don't care who they play against. They're really opening a lot of eyes. They're going to be a real tough team to beat, the way that things are going for them right now. And just get in there, whoever you got to match up against. I know that back in the year, you always had like a psychological edge that you had maybe good success against certain teams over the regular season. But now it's so close, parity, between the teams. It's such a fine line. The main point being is everybody has to be at their very best. And right now, Canadians are at their very best. So bring on whoever. They're going to be a handful to play against.
Well, you know, Carolina, the Habs beat them all three times this season, so there's that. Tampa, the Habs haven't had much success against in the past, but they did beat them in Tampa last Tuesday night. Knuckles, Buffalo, 14 years not in the playoffs. That inexperience, I mean, I know all these guys weren't with the team through those 14 years, but just the inexperience of never being in the playoffs for so long, do you think that would give the Canadiens or whoever faces Buffalo in the first round an advantage?
I don't think so. Listen, that team has it going on right now, and it's how you show up and how you play in the playoffs. Nothing to do with your past. It really doesn't. Psychologically, like Rick said, sometimes, we played well against this team. All of a sudden you come in, they stick it up your hoop. In the playoffs, you're like, what happened, guys? We beat them all year. You know, so that doesn't fly with me. They're a very good hockey team. They've proven it. Like, it wasn't a fluke, right? What they've done. So, and the same with the Habs. Like, you know, these teams, playoff time comes, those big teams, they get ugly, they get in your face. You get playing tough hockey, and once you start choosing who you want to play, maybe we played this group better than that group, or this team as opposed to that team, and then, you know, you're going home. You know, you're having that year-end party where everybody shows up and says, "Geez, what happened?" So,
well, you know, I think one of the strengths of the Canadiens have been so consistent this year now, because they had one 5-game losing streak earlier in the season, and they've been pretty consistent, pretty resilient since then. But Buffalo, since the GM change, it's like a different team. I mean, you see coaching changes that have an impact on a team, but how does a GM change have that? I mean, it's not like the players are talking to the GM every day and he's in the locker room. Is it surprising that changing the GM could turn the Sabres around like they?
I don't know if it's so much that. Listen, Yamo must have come in and, you know, introduced himself, said, "Here's what we're going to do. Here's what I expect from you guys." He must have come in and said something to introduce himself to the team. Was that the sole reason for the turnaround? I don't believe so. I think the coaching, that could have had something to do with the GM, but I think coaching and Lindy Ruff is stay consistent with his message. And it finally clicked, I guess. I mean, how else can you explain it? Are they sick of losing? I mean, did Yamo come in and say, "Listen, are you guys sick of losing? Are you sick of not being in the playoffs? Are you sick of being a laughingstock of the league?" Everybody said, "Look at all these draft picks we got, and we're not doing anything." we keep losing hockey games. You're going to show me you guys can play and you deserve to be here? I don't know. I think if I was a GM coming in there, I might have said something like that. So maybe he did, and maybe it did have an effect on him. But I think Lindy and his message, he's a good coach. He's a good coach, Lindy Ruff. He's a guy who holds guys accountable. He'll tell you if you're not playing well. And, maybe, just maybe, the message finally stuck.
Well, Rick, if the Canadiens keep playing the way they have been and they keep getting the goaltending they've been getting from Dobish, I don't think I'd want to play them in the first round. But is this team, are the Canadiens built to go on a long run in the playoffs, or are they still a year or two away from maybe reaching that point?
Let's go game by game, see how they hold up. They obviously their track record to date is showing that they can go at anyone they're up against, and they're tough to play against. They're quick. Their transition is excellent. The goaltending, they've got a lot of areas that they're doing and excelling at, and that is a good feel, as you go down the stretch and bringing that in the playoffs. And they're really hungry, and I think that down deep they have this sense that they have the confidence that they can go at anybody and beat them, and that's a good sign. And let's see how they perform game by game. Yes, they have a little bit of inexperience, but they've handled themselves really, really well for most of the year. And watch out for these guys because they're on a mission right now.
I know, Knuckles, one of the questions about the Habs when it comes to the playoffs, are they big enough? Do they play tough enough, physical enough? Do you think that's an issue as far as getting beyond the first round if they do, in fact, win the first round?
We're going to find out. It'll all shake out in the wash, right? You're going to see it. And listen, I would love nothing more than to see this team have success and go on a run. And it's possible. It's possible. But it's all going to shake out, like I said. And, that's been one of the knocks on this team. They're small. They're smaller, certainly when it comes to playoff hockey. So, you got to get the job done in the boards, in the corners. You look at Slafkovsky, what he's done. It's incredible. He's a big man. He can handle. We're getting that crunch time now where you're starting to see somewhat of playoff hockey right now down the stretch here. Everything's so tight. And there's a guy who certainly is, he is so built for that playoff game. And hopefully we see that and he can lead the way in that. Josh Anderson lead the way in that. But certainly, I got to wait and see. I got to see what they do in the first round and see how they show up in these playoffs. Like I said, I would love to see him do it. These guys, I got to tell you, Caulfield, what he's done, Slafkovsky, all of them. But Nick Suzuki has been the ultimate leader for this team. It's incredible what this kid has done. That consistent rise to stardom that he's had since he's been here. At Command, he was a little bit of deer in the headlights as a young kid. And, I watched him that first training camp. He looked like he was in over his head a little bit. And boy, he's opened my eyes to what a great player he is and great leader. His temperament is just right across the board, not too emotional, never gets down. Come on, what a leader he's become. That's awesome to see. And certainly with their coach and how he's worked with all these kids and got them to understand what he wants. It's really cool, so yeah, we'll see.
TSN's Mike Johnson had a great description of Suzuki on a recent game. He said it's unassuming excellence, which I thought was great. I mean, playoffs in Montreal, Rick, there's nothing better, right? The weather's getting warmer. The city comes to life. It's a great experience for fans. What's it like when you're a player in Montreal in the playoffs?
There's nothing better. It's just the whole city just lights up everywhere you go, and everybody's talking hockey. Nobody's on the street come game time. Everybody lives and looks forward to success as a Montreal Canadian group. And some of these guys that have tasted it before probably would say the same thing. There's no other place in the world as far as the type of response they get from the fan base and everything that's tied into the Montreal Canadiens. I don't care where you are in the country, people are excited, and to be a part of that mix with the opportunity to have some success and possibly go for a Stanley Cup. It's just one of the best feelings you can get, and when you get on a roll and you start to advance, you start to smell some success in winning hockey games, and then all of a sudden the teams start getting down as far as numbers go that you have to beat to advance to the next round. It just puts a hair up on your back that you want to keep going. And these guys looking like they're really excited about the opportunity, and I hope they keep it going.
No, it should be a fun run once it begins. Anyway, that's it for this Hockey Inside Out Show bonus episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll have a couple of more bonus episodes coming up over the next few days, so you can look for those. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel. And also, in case you didn't already know, Hockey Inside Out is also available now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.